Okay, so this is more of like an off-the-cuff thing since I'm breaking away from my usual recordings and my script and stuff. I'm a big fan of literature, and I'm sure everyone's heard of the new book from Harper Lee, author of To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you went to high school, you've read this book or at least seen the movie. For a refresher of the let's be honest, the average person, I guess, since no one really pays attention in high school, in America, that is, and just slide by with mediocrity. I mean, that's what I did. So, the story is basically about Atticus Finch, a lawyer in Alabama during the Great Depression, and his daughter, Scout. Basically, it's two stories at once. Atticus Finch is defending a black man who is accused of raping a white woman, and the daughter goes on her little story with the town crazy Boo Radley. And generally the book's just about justice is blind. You know, you shouldn't just base your assumptions off of race or how someone acts or if they have a quirk. If they're ostracized from society, they're still a person. They should be treated equally. It is Alabama during the Great Depression. You could pretty much set the story in modern times, and if it's in Alabama, it is the Deep South. Deep-seated racism. I mean, not saying all Alabamans are racist, but, you know, the South kind of has that thing. Anyways, Harper Lee, she wrote this book a while back. She sold about 40 million copies so far, made mad money off of it. It's in every high school curriculum course, basically. And recently, word's gotten out that the new book is coming, titled Go Set A Watchman. Now, I came across this New York Times article, the link is in the description below, that stated that Atticus Finch is a bigot in this new book. It goes against his character as a lawyer who was defending Tom Robinson, the black guy, the quintessential black guy, I guess you could say, because his character was basically the embodiment or the target for the racists in the book that represented the times and the unfair treatment of the black community in the South in real life, including the Jim Crow laws that were still being enforced, as opposed to how it should be and how countless other movies and books and documentaries and just examples in your everyday life that, you know, people should be treated equally no matter their race or gender. It's kind of weird saying that that's how it should be when it should be like, without saying, like, don't hurt people, it hurts the community, it hurts relationships, it hurts the people you're killing. You know, come on everybody, let's not murder each other. But we have people that aren't on the same page as treating each other equally despite race, and especially back in the day when you were pretty much taught like, oh, you know, these people are different, these people are beneath us, or even if you're a good person, it's like you hear your parents or your grandparents like, oh, you know, the darkies, they go sip from their own fountain, they have their own bleachers, they have their own restrooms, they're different from us, they're segregated. You know, luckily, we moved past that. I mean, slowly we got over that, and it took a push, it took a lot of effort from the black community, the white community. Everyone kind of came together and we've moved past that. Most of us anyways. You have people that still want to hold on to those old beliefs that anyone of color, not even specifically pointing out black people, Hispanic descent, Asian people, any person other than white, who like to say, well, if it ain't white, it ain't right. And here we have this book that was completed in 1957. That was the same year as the Little Rock Nine, the 9 black students that enrolled into a college university. So to take this new spin on Atticus, where he seems to hold racist views, and he's a bigot, apparently, it flies in the face of what most people envision about the character in the book itself. I, for one, when I first read it, didn't really care. I reread it recently. It's good. It holds up pretty well. But I feel like, yeah, people should know this already. People should be colorblind. It doesn't matter what your race is. But, you know, as I mentioned earlier, yada yada yada. So with this new angle on the character, it just seems like Harper Lee is going to make Atticus this character who says to himself, well, you know, I'm a lawyer. I'm going to go do this job. I'm going to treat everyone fairly. This is me in the public eye. Yet he still has this almost opposite personal views. I think that can work great. To where you can look at the character Atticus and say, well, now that I know this about you, It's definitely changed my opinion, but you seem to still be pretty fair and pretty straightforward with what you believe is right and wrong, while you personally hold these racist and bigoted beliefs. I'm sure you could look at even a few of your older family members, and while they may have colored coworkers or friends or even members of the family that they treat with respect, but every once in a while you kind of maybe they have had a few too much to drink or some candid conversations here and there, and they'll say something a little bit racy. Now, it's not to say, like, oh, quiet racism is okay racism. Well, that's not really what I'm trying to get out of this. But it seems like you can hold a belief, and sure, a belief can be stupid or an intelligent belief, but people are entitled to their own opinions. They can make their own ideas and perceptions of reality. And when it comes to interacting with other people who have conflicting beliefs, we all just kind of got to get along at the end of the day. And maybe that's where Harper Lee's going to go with this. I'm definitely going to buy the book when it comes out. It's here coming out pretty soon, actually. And hopefully it's a good read. I doubt it will really ruin anything of the original book. In fact, when it comes to reading, the more you read, you can actually go back and read again, and it'll richen the experience. And that's kind of how literature works. If you look into literary history, it kind of starts with Aristotle and Plato, and it moves on to Dante Alighieri and Chaucer, Alexander Pope, and so on. And basically, they just keep building on top of what we've learned about the human condition. Because basically, you open a book, it's about people. It's about experience. It's about learning something or going on an adventure and sacrificing something for a greater cause, or examining a part of culture or people or aspect of our lives. So with this new book, I'm pretty excited to see how Harper Lee's probably going to do it again and bring us something that will echo throughout the decades. Now, lightning usually doesn't strike twice in the same place, but yeah, we'll see.